allowing someone else to select a college for you. I don't think anybody's going to do that, right? Okay. Selecting a major for the wrong reason. This would include selecting a major because that school is really good in that field. For example, engineering, because you're not really going to be an engineer, but you want to go to that school. NC State, for example, right? So you say, hey, you know what, it's going to increase my chances to get in there because I'm a female and they need female engineers. So I'm going to say that's what I'm going into. Okay? That probably wouldn't be a good way to go about this. There's a list of admission factors on here. Extracurricular activities. It says in here the significance of activities has been exaggerated. Remember, it's sometimes people do quantity over quality. If you had 2 things that you were involved in, but you can articulate on your application why you're doing those and how they've affected you, that's a lot better than having 10 different things listed on here that you've done. So if you're don't have a ton of extracurricular activities on here, that's fine. Focus on the how and the why with those activities. That's what's going to help you. All right. Let's go to 20 and 21 here. 2021 is just the best practices. It talks in here about early decision and the application process, which we've gone through. Most of your applications, of course, now are all online. It was just a few years ago that everything was still in paper, so that's all changed. 22, this is important, letters of recommendation. Have you guys started to approach people for letters of recommendation? Has anybody started that part of the process? Okay. It would be good to kind of start to think about some folks if you haven't. Maybe a list of 5 people. You're not going to get 5 letters of recommendation, but you want, say, 5 different people that you think would write a good letter of recommendation. A couple of teachers. Maybe somebody in your church. Somebody in the community. Coach. Those are all good options. Your resume, which we're going to get to here in just a minute, is great for this because that person may not know you as well as you think they do, but if you give them the resume, you're going to give them a picture of what you've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years. Okay. There's a section down here at the bottom of page 22 that talks about how to ask. So we're giving you some advice on how to actually ask somebody to do a letter of recommendation for you. Right? Sending too many letters of recommendation can work against you. It says in here, do not have people send letters unless they know you well enough to provide direct observations of your performance. Okay. Next page talks about college visits and interviews and all that. So let's see, let's go to page 26. I want to get to the resume. So page 26 is the resume. If you can't see this, what this is all the information about you, single space, on one page, neatly formatted, easy to read, and your picture goes here in the top right corner. Okay? You want this to be a professional looking headshot. All right? Not a glamour shot, just a nice professional looking headshot. Does anybody know why we put the picture on it? What do you think? Somebody think yes. What you got?
It kind of makes you more of a person than just.
Yeah. Makes you more of a person. If you think about it, how many documents that these admissions officers get have pictures on them? Does anything have a picture on it? They go through stacks and stacks of data on students. So imagine they're going through your file and all of a sudden this thing pops up and your pretty little face is on here. You think they're going to stop for a minute? Of course they will. Now how many students do you think actually do this? You're in the 0.00001% of kids that are going to do something like this. I even had a student one time who took this to the next level and took this format of a resume and superimposed it on a sheet cake and sent it to the admissions office. I'm not saying you have to do that, but he was really concerned about getting into the school. He was also smart enough to take a copy of the resume and put it on the bottom of the cake and leave a note that was inside the cake in like a Ziploc bag that said, look underneath, because they cut into the cake before they actually remembered who sent the resume. And they ate his resume, but he had it on the back part of it. He actually got admitted to the school, and it was definitely a read school for him. I'm not saying you have to do that, but those are little things you can use to differentiate yourself, little ideas, right? The resume in and of itself will differentiate you from 99.999% of other kids, because they're not going to do this. This shows initiative, just being organized like this, and then having your picture on, smiling and happy. What you're going to see on here, the list that there are on here are academic honors and awards, other awards, high school leadership activities, community service, summer programs, employment, and all that. Now remember, this is the what. This is what they're talking about in that video when they say the what. This is all the what. Your job from here, when you get to write on the application, is to tell them the how and the why. Why is this resume even important? Because they're going to see other kids have done other things and they have great list of activities they've been involved in. But if you can tie together why and how you're doing these things, and how it's affecting you and how you're growing from it, and how you can bring that to their school, you're creating a business case to get yourself admitted. Okay? They will be excited about that. So the resume. All right, pages 29 through 38 are all about essays. So I would strongly encourage you to read this. But like I said, if you can do one thing, yeah.
Question about the resume. None of my colleges that I've applied to have asked for it. Is it something you just mail out to them?
For the resume, yes, that's a good question. A lot of them will not ask for it. So here's what you're going to need to do. You need to print one. If you cannot attach this and send it in with your application as an attachment, you need to print it on nice paper. You need to take the extra step and get a nice envelope. Don't fold this thing. Get a nice envelope. Like get some parchment paper or something that looks nice. There's resume paper. You can get it at Walmart. Keep it flat. Get a large envelope, a 9x12 envelope. And you can do these all at the same time if you want. So if you got 6 schools, get all 6 of them ready to go. Go to the post office and pay for delivery confirmation. So when you send this to the college, you want to send it to the person who's responsible for your file. You want to address it to them. If you don't know who that is, another great reason to call them. Okay?
And just mail it to them.
Mail it to them to say, hey, there's something I need to put with the application, but I'm not able to attach it. Can I just mail this to you? They'll be fine with that. If they don't, let me know. We'll find another way to get it to them. But that's what kids do. They then send them, get delivery confirmation. You'll get a little receipt back once they get it. You know they've received it. They put it with your file. It might cost you $2 per envelope to do it that way, but it's worth it. Yeah, good question. I forgot to say that because a lot of the schools will limit what you can submit with your application. So if there's not a way for you to upload this document online and submit it, then we're going to need to physically mail it. Again, you're taking an extra step to do that. Hey, you might even want to do a little handwritten thank you note inside that envelope when you send it. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Hey, thanks for taking the time to look at my application. Do you think they get anything like that from kids? Of course not. Nobody sends that. And remember, when you're applying to these schools, there are 5,000 other kids who academically probably look just like you, or very close. You've got to be able to differentiate yourself. You've got to. And this information carries over to the financial aid process. Your files get coded based on the preference that they've received in the admissions process. So when the next part of it comes, when they start to decide what kind of aid they might offer your family, whether it's scholarship or grants, this plays into it. It all goes together. So you see why this class is actually really important, because there are so many little things like this you can do if you actually take the time and do it. It will affect us. The problem is we can't come back and do this over again in 6 months. You've got to do it right the first time. You've got to take some of these and do them now, okay, when you're applying. Good question. Any other questions on that? Guys, if you want, you can email me your resume. I'll be happy to take a look at it. Be happy to give you the advice on it. If you follow the template here, you you're good to go. But if you want to send it to me, please do. Just make sure, two things, it's one page, three things. One page, it's neat, so that when you look at it, your eyes aren't going all over the page. When you look at the different headings, everything is lined up properly. And your picture is on there. Okay? That's what you want to do. This really goes into a lot of detail on essays. I really would encourage you guys to read this. Talking about essay styles, editing your essay. I am not an expert on essays, but I've read a lot of them. And I'll be happy to read yours, and I won't sugarcoat it. If it's not good, I'm going to tell you, okay? So if you want the truth, you can send it to me. I've got some before, and I'll tell kids, hey, you got it. Here's what we need to think about, right? There's another option for you too, and I sent this out not too long ago, but if you really are struggling with your essays, there's a group out there called Wow Wow Writing Workshop. It's a weird name, but they're very good at the essay part of this, and they have a number of different things they can help you with. So when you get these applications and you're looking at them, and you start to fill them out, and you save it and come back to it, and you get to the essay part, and you're really struggling, let me know, okay? There's something, you might want to look into one of these services that can help you. Some of these will take the whole step, you can pay them, and they will essentially write an essay for you. Edit it so it sounds just like you. I don't know if you want to do that, but you can. And they're very, very good at it. They are. So if you're really struggling, there are some options, some resources I can point you towards to maybe help you. The other thing that's been a good resource for students in the past is YouTube. These videos we're watching here, there's some others we're going to watch, I got them from YouTube. So if you type in essay help or whatever, you'll find 10,000 videos that come up with what you really want to hear is what admissions officers are looking for in essays. You want to hear what they're looking for, okay? And then the very last part of this packet are frequently asked questions, just about the whole process here, okay? There's questions in here about lower than average GPA, standardized. I mean, just read through it. There's some good Q&A stuff in there. Okay. All right. So we're just talking about essays. I want you to hear some from the students. I think I got a couple videos on here. This one is a student, and then the next one is admissions officers talking a little bit more about essays. So you might want to take some notes on this part too.
Make sure your essay stands out. I know that you probably heard that a lot, make sure that yours stands out from the crowd, but you really have to try and do that because you have to think these people that are in the admissions office are reading these essays, thousands, maybe, thousands, hundreds a day. So you have to make sure you stand out to them. They remember you, like, oh, this is the person that wrote about ABC. Also, make sure you get it read by different people, like your family, friends, teachers also would be a great person to go to, like an English teacher or something like that. So
I think a good college essay is something that shows your personality and maybe shows the talents or abilities that you have in writing. Something unique that would really stand out to a college person that's reading it.
And what makes a good essay is writing firsthand, letting the college get like a taste of who you are. Don't write what you think they want, what they expect, right? Let them know who you are as the individual. Why do they want you? Put that on paper, and a lot of times we don't come through.
I was very honest and direct about what I wanted when I applied for admission. Don't be afraid to tell them your life story and tell them exactly what you needed. I mean, I come from a really large family, so money was a really big issue when I was applying to college. And I put that in my admissions essay, and because of that, I got a really large scholarship. So I say just be honest about everything you need. Don't try to impress them, just be honest about yourself.
My personal statement was actually very personal, so I think the school liked it because I told basically my past when, I had the best lifestyle, ever growing up experience when I was a little kid. I, grew up in a rough neighborhood and had a lot going on. I lost both my parents, and I basically told them the whole story and showed that, it's not something that I'm going to let hold me back. That, I have all these aspirations that I want to, go out and finish, and they liked that about me. They figured that, with all the stuff that I've been through, that I managed to keep the GPA I did, managed to get the test scores I did, that I would continue to do that in college.
Okay, The one girl at the very beginning said the same thing that we heard in the first video, which is write about things that will make you stand out, that they will remember you, they'll tie you to that essay topic. Did you notice when they were talking earlier about things that the admissions officers had learned from reading applications? And they could immediately name things, right? That pogo stick was an extreme sport. I mean, I bet you they can tell you the student that wrote that too. So it's okay to be a little bit on edge or write something that's edgy. That's okay. That's kind of what they're looking for. Those are the things that are memorable. Okay? I know that's difficult and that's kind of a wide range of things to think about, but that's twice now you've heard them say that you want your essay to be something that stands out that they will be able to tie to you. Okay? I frankly think that if you call the school and you ask them that criteria question, that sort of thing is going to stand out, because there's a culture at every school. Every school has kind of got their own little thing going on. And if they can tell you what that is and what kind of students thrive at this school, this is what we typically look for, then, and you're able to feed that back to them, I think they're going to remember that without even knowing it. Okay? The next one here is from admissions officers talking about essays. Okay? Or an admissions officer.
Hi, my name is Tim Warnica, and I'm here today to talk to you about 9 steps to writing a successful college essay. In addition to being a motivational speaker and a leadership coach, I often teach college level classes. One of the biggest mistakes that I see many students make is they don't write a good, solid essay. Being a successful writer in college or graduate school requires discipline. Writing is not easy. And it should be obvious to every college student that writing is one of the skills that will transfer out of college and into any career that you go into. As a leadership coach, one of the largest complaints that I hear from many HR professionals and executives is that people coming out of college can't write coherently. So let's talk about writing a good essay. If you try to sit down and write your essay in a single session, you're setting yourself up for failure.